Hi guys. So I wanted to make a quick video. I know it's usually a Warhammer channel, but there's something that's been sort of playing on my mind, and I've been wanting to make this video for a few weeks now, but sort of didn't really have many facts, and personally was a little bit scared of the backlash, which I'm going to sort of take on the chin now, so we'll see how it goes. And the general gist of it is this whole idea of Black Lives Matter. Um, I'm going to go through some recent things that have come up from a news presenter, and I'm going to sort of put another idea forward. I want to sort of go on record now, straight away, of saying this is not me disputing that Black Lives Matter um, at all. I completely agree with the reasoning around it, um, but it's more a case of I think that I don't agree with the name of the slogan. And we'll get onto that in a second. So if you please comment below. Um, I do implore you to if you disagree with the things I say, that's completely okay, and I will comment back if when I with the time and stuff at work. But please be aware that I don't know everything. I am just sort of doing this a bit off the cuff. I've done a little bit of research. You'll see me flick into other slides. Um, but this is just an opinion, and again, it's not meant to be offensive in any way at all, and I welcome feedback on so that my knowledge can grow in the sense of it. Okay, so recently, the Sky Sports news presenter Mike, I think it's Wedderburn, has gone on record of defending Black Lives Matter. Completely agree, but also was able to give more context into the ideals of it. So he went on to say that no one's saying that white lives don't matter, because obviously they do. And this was in respect of the banner going across Brighton, Burnley. I can't remember which football match it was, but someone had a banner going across saying "White Lives Matter." Um, but yeah, so again, he's saying it's no one is saying that white lives don't matter, but they're actually saying that because they do. So what he's saying is that actually black people are viewed in a more negative way than white people, and they're viewed with suspicion. They're watched in say shopping malls and all that kind of stuff. Um, and goes on to obviously say that they don't hold positions of power. They're stopped and searched by police. Um, so based on this, just these few things. So viewed negatively and with suspicion, I agree. Yep, they are. If there's where I live, there's actually I think there's a group. There must be some sort of like it's like a dance troupe, or they just sort of get together and they listen to music on the green where I live. And I must admit, yeah, I'll look at it and go, "Oh, probably stay away from that sort of area." But actually, I'm speaking to other people in the community more recently. I found out that actually they go, they have a dance, they have a sing list to music, they clean up after themselves, and no bother. So again, straight away we can see that even myself that I don't have a racist problem, as in my opinion. I'm sure I've said things that can be construed in that way, but I'd like to say that I don't. I'd like to think that I don't. But yeah, so straight away, viewing negatively and suspicion. And like Mike Wedderburn said, they're watched. Um, do not hold positions of power. Um, okay, yeah. In my line of work, I must admit that yes, the managers that I've always worked for have been white. Um, there is a lot of black people in my industry, but again I will admit that a lot of them are agency workers. Um, the two deputies in my position are both black. One's from Africa, one's not. Well, I think he's from London actually. One, like I said, one's from Africa, one's from London. Um, so there's that. But if I think out into the wider world, yes, you know, I can get on board with that. But then the other side of it is actually that a black person has had pretty much the most influential job in the world, being the American president. Um, so, it, is it swings and roundabouts, or is that a true representation of that? And again, welcome feedback on that, guys. Really do. So, I mean, part of my like, I used to be a history, well, was a training history teacher. I really enjoy my history. So I always look at these things in a historical context. So if we look at, and like I said, I acknowledge history in the sense of that black people have been persecuted from such an early period. Obviously we look at the most blatant ones of the slave trade through America and into England. But you can take that back as far back as the Roman times, and that's look, that's 2,000 years ago. That's well before the slave trade. That was like the real slave trade when you were taken from homes and literally put in arenas and all that kind of stuff. Um, so I acknowledge what Mike Wedderburn has said. Yes, he's correct, and again, that's not what this video is about. So my argument in this video, guys, is that saying Black Lives Matter specifically actually incites the idea that others don't. I don't know if that banner that went across the football was some moron of white supremacy, thinking that white lives are more important than anybody else, and I completely disagree with that idea at all. Or was it someone that actually was batting back the idea that actually, okay, Black Lives Matter, but so do white people? And that's what Mike Wedderburn has gone on to say. I'll say it again, he's not saying that white lives don't matter because they do. He's saying that black people's lives are they're sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? They're in a much more difficult position in terms of they're sort of given the short edge of the stick, really. The short edge of the sword, whatever. um, So my argument is that the slogan shouldn't be Black Lives Matter. It should be Lives Matter. And I take that back again. Go through history. If we look at history, all people have been persecuted. If I go back to the idea of Native Americans, and again, it was predominantly white people that did this. So again, not saying that we have a leg to stand on in that kind of sense, but Native Americans were damn near wiped off the face of the earth because of that. We look at Jewish people, and historically Jewish people are predominantly white. They were persecuted horrifically, not just in World War II, but in lots of circumstances across the globe throughout history. Christians in its own right is a multicolour of people from Africa, from Europe, from America, from parts of Eastern Europe and Eastern the Eastern side, China and all that kind of stuff. You look at the top 50 countries persecuted with Christians, and it is in Eastern European countries and further east. And again, so Christians consist of black, white, Asian. So massive persecution there. We look at something a bit more modern. Look at Rwanda. Rwanda was a massive persecution of black people by black people based on a cultural issue. I think I don't know. I can't remember the ins and outs of it, but it was Tutsis against another sort of variation of Rwandan people. So in that sense, all people have been persecuted. Yes, I accept that within modern culture, black people are really getting it hard. They shouldn't. Their stop and search should be equal. It shouldn't be just for black people. It should be for white people, for Chinese people, for all these different cultures. And I will say this now, guys. I don't like this word race. We are all one human race. We are all one race, and we have different cultures. And I implore us to learn those different cultures. One of the things I love about America so much is that I can turn a corner and I'm in a completely different culture to the street I was just on. You look at New Orleans. There's French culture. There's black culture. There's Southern American culture, which is so steeped in history, is untrue. And yes, I know that again, that's a lot of that is based on slavery and stuff. But again, it's history and culture, and I love that about America. It's one of the reasons why I would move to America rather than Australia. So again, guys, I implore you to change this slogan from Black Lives Matter to Lives Matter. All lives in the world matter. Again, if you look at America and across the world at the moment, there's numerous ethnic cultures being persecuted. Like I've already said, Christians in Eastern culture, Muslims in Western culture for more recent reasons, Mexican people trying to get sort of not get into, but trying to live in America. Even legal immigrants from Mexico are persecuted in America. Their jobs literally consist of cleaning houses. Generally, if you look at media or that kind of stuff, I've not got a friend who's Mexican that lives in America, so I can't comment on that. So again, please educate me, guys. But you look at the media, and literally they come across, they work in gardening jobs or cleaning jobs, and they work from stupid o'clock in the morning to God knows what at night. This is a it's a pandemic of racism. It's not racism, of ethnicism. Is that even a word? Against all human people. You know, LGBT communities. Some of us may not agree with that way of life, but it's not okay to persecute that way. People with mental health, and that's everyone. You know, I suffer with mental health at times. So does Joe Bloggs and Joe Brown. We all have a level of mental health issues, and we're persecuted for it. You know, I look after people with mental health, and if I go down the street, the amount of people that will look at them and think, oh, and sometimes people across those roads, they don't know that person. They don't know what mental health issues they have. They don't know what they go through. So again, guys, I mean, I understand that black people are struggling in the world with persecution and the way that, and I completely disagree with the way that George Floyd was treated. That was not okay, and the police officer that did that should be arrested and locked up for murder, and the other police officers that were with him. And but the flip side of that, guys, is why didn't there were enough people standing around there to get involved? And again, I know America has guns and there's all that kind of stuff, but was enough done at that time to help that person? So again, guys, like I said, I don't pretend to know every issue and all the arguments for it. I'm just sort of making my opinion known, which I'm sure everybody else has. And again, I please welcome the comments to educate myself further. But I just can't get past the idea that it shouldn't be Black Lives Matter, guys. It should be Lives Matter. And I welcome you to join me in in that idea. I don't know how to get that out there and all that kind of stuff. So if anyone wants to help with that, that'd be great. But like I said, the idea of Black Lives Matter, in my head, incites the idea that other lives don't matter. So yeah, that's my spiel, guys. So I hope you gain something from it, and like I said, I look forward to gaining something from your comments as well. So please get on board, and yeah, thank you.